What is up, guys? It is Lego My Django here, and I'm here to do a new series on my channel, which is called, well, basically just Tips for Blank, because it's basically going to be really any stop motionist out there that says Star Wars that either requests a video or I ask them about, or something like that, some type of communication. Anyway, basically throughout this video I'm going to be giving tips to BSTStudios, and hopefully he will receive these well, and hopefully he won't be too angry with my criticisms. I've talked to him on Amino, so I think that it's all good. Anyway, let's get started with the first category, the animation. And the first video we're starting out with is Lego Star Wars Jedi Outlaw. So I'm gonna give my honest review on this, since for category wise it doesn't really split up. So I'm just gonna review this whole thing in one go in terms of no categories. So yeah. Anyway, so Jedi Outlaw. He messaged me about this idea before he posted it. I think a couple months before he posted it, and I felt like it was a good idea, and I feel like it still is. The one thing though that I do suggest is that like, all the action is good, the animation seems well made, the backgrounds are great as far as I can tell, but the voices, they don't sound too similar, which is going to be another thing I'm going to talk about in the next one. But in terms of this one, the only downside to it I can see is that some of the scenes are just too quiet. Like, even some of the quietest scenes in movies have like a little bit of music in the background, even if it's just very subtle. But I do like the animation, how it's worked out, and it's a lot better than a lot of amateur animators or stop motionists out there that their first try is, and I'm pretty sure this is his first try at this point, but if this isn't, then he'll probably tell me in the comments. But I feel like it's a good storyline, it's good animation, and I feel like though that this series can go far if it does become a full-fledged series. I feel like it is going to be, because the endings of it to a continuous level. But if I were just to give any tips about this video, I'd probably just say that just a little bit more music variety in the backgrounds of more of the quiet scenes. But besides that, I feel like it's a really good video, and it's like, it's not like, not a lot of animations on YouTube are really Oscar worthy unless they're made by a big company. But in terms of just someone that's a fan of Star Wars, I feel like he did really good of plotting the story and scripting, and nothing really seems very rushed, or any of the vocals don't seem too like readable, where at that point it just sounds like that you're reading off a script. And I feel like though that it's more like in flesh tone. Like, the script wise, it's not bad at all. Reading off the script, like, there's a little bit of times where it just sounds like you're just basically reading. And in a video like that, you're supposed to be kind of just like in the action of itself. Like, for instance, there's some scenes where there's a lot of action, you have to declare yourself into the role of action. Basically, what I suggest is basically act out in real life what the scene is, and kind of like think about what the actual actions are being going on. And at that point, it'll sound more realistic instead of just reading off a script. But besides that, it's just the music. But anyway, let's get on to the rating of this video. Animation-wise, I'd probably give it a solid 9 out of 10. Storyline-wise, I'd probably give it an 8 out of 10. Just because that, like, it's not the perfect story, but it's a very good story to start up on. And like I said, the rating for the characters are very unique in some ways. He does involve some old characters from the Clone Wars. I think just mainly just Cad Bane at this point, as far as I can see. But he does introduce a lot of new ideas to certain characters, and I liked how he portrayed certain ones of them. And also another impressive thing is finding a female voice actor, which is very rare unless you relate to. And I think he said it was his sister or something like that. But it's hard because like most of the community is guys, because like guys are usually the ones that collect Lego Star Wars. No offense to any girl that probably collects Lego Star Wars. I'm just going off of base what I've seen of the community. But in this case, I do like the voices. The characters seem well developed in the first episode. Like, they're not supposed to be well developed yet until you start really getting into it. But even though they're not well developed, like as I've seen, they still look like that they do have personalities of themselves and not like they're just run-on characters, which I really like. Alright, the next video that we're checking out is Lego Star Wars Rebel Marines Episode 1. So, I'm guessing this is going to be the first series that he does, as far as I know. I don't know his specific plans with it, but as far as I could see, it's kind of the same with the animation. The animation's good, and like it's a little bit choppy at some points, but I mean, if you're first starting out, it's not a bad thing. It's normal. But in terms of the voices, like I said before, the voices don't really get more diverse as they would be. Like, they sound a lot more alike. There's only like, I think there's only one character that doesn't really sound the same, which I believe I can't remember the full name of it, but I know it's Sparrow. I think it's Captain Sparrow, or Commander Sparrow, or something like that. Anyway, so I do like how the storyline. I can't honestly say that any of these stories are bad. I believe they all have potential, and I feel like, in a sense, just the vocals kind of get me. There's not much music in terms of like problems with it, because there's not much music needed for something like this. For a longer story like the last one, it would have needed some type of music because it was kind of like a movie, more or less. But since this is a series episode, I feel like though there should be some music in it, but it just depends. But in terms of the characters in general, this is the first episode, so I think though that I shouldn't really be judging on that yet, but I will kind of give a score of what I think, which I feel like the characters are at least different from each other. Like, except for like the last few in the end, they weren't really shown as much like idea of personality, but I feel like that's going to be expanded in another episode if he ever does expand it. In terms of enjoyment, in terms of how good I feel like it is, I feel like it's a good idea. The animation's good, and the vocal diversity is very off, which is a little bit less than last time, but there's not really much else to say. This is just the first episode, so yeah, I'm not going to really bash it on too much. But anyway, let's get to the scoring. And that was my tips for BSTStudios. I hope that he will take this with a grain of salt for any of my criticisms, but I hope that he does improve in the near future with any of his new animations that he hopefully will be doing. I really like his content, to be honest, so that's why there's not really much criticism. So anyway, I hope you guys enjoyed this. If you guys want a tips video, request in the comments down below, or put it in one of my posts in Star Wars Amino. It's a link on my Django trademarked. And so anyway, I hope you guys enjoyed this video, and this is Mega Django signing off.